Oh, yeah. We almost there, baby. We are almost there. We are sitting on the precipice of Friday Eve. We are sitting on the show that we call the Friday Eve Spectacular until one thing and one thing happens. And oh, boy, that thing happens tomorrow morning. There's going to be a bunch of people. Now, what's going on tomorrow morning? One of the refrigerators in the break room, it's broken. So they got Handyman Steve in there. Handyman Steve has been just sitting there because he's watching, because he's amazed that everybody's putting their lunches away. And it's a long line and people just going in. It's like an assembly line. And then there's an assembly line going to the Keurig because everybody's in there at the same time. And then all of a sudden, he hears people chatting and talking. He's talking about a show they watched last night, talking about these two guys. He was like, I think I know these two guys. He was like, hey, is one a guy always wears a baseball cap and has like different pictures in the background? He was like, yeah. He's like, the other guy, he got like dreadlocks and wears these interesting print t-shirts of superheroes and other things and Dolly Parton. He was like, yeah. He said, then you must be talking about the Thursday night Throwdown. Yeah, baby. That's what's up. Welcome to Thursday Night Throwdown. As we always do, we come here to entertain you. And we do. Today we got some special things. We got one thing we want to do for sure off the break to honor a sportscaster that has probably been in your living room, been on your TV over the last 20 to 30 years. That's one Miss Linda Cohn. After that, we got to talk about the Caps making some moves. We got to talk about moves being made, period. Now, we can't give you too much on the hockey. We will have the expert on around 7:35, so be prepared for that. NBA, we got NBA news galore. We got it just coming out of the sky. It's like boom, boom. It's like the NBA is just dropping them left and right. But we also got to talk a little bit about what's happening to free agency now. Because I see something happening, and I think we might be on the beginning stages, because I don't want to use the same word twice. We're at the beginning stages of burying NBA free agency the way we knew it back in our time. So we may have come to the end of the road, and we can't let go because it's natural. All right. But with that being said, we also have, as always, the Miles Report, and then something special I came up with today with the help of my guys from Nats Talk Podcast. I got them to do a report card because we are officially at 81 games for the Nationals, and their report card goes up against my report card. We go one-on-one, report card for report card. I think you're going to see some similarities and you can see some differences. But it's going to be all interesting all day long. So if you ain't ready yet, you got to get ready. In the words of the great Yoda, there's no try. It's just do. And what we want to do is entertain you. I'm the Midnight Rider. He's the big guy, KG. And with that being said, I'm going to turn this over to him because he's the one that's going to guide you through this paradise that we call the sports world.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Midnight Rider, for that rousing introduction. I love it. And then kudos on the breath control with that Thursday night. That was long, man. That's breath control, ladies and gentlemen. That's breathing exercises. Kudos on that.
You have a singing coach on, you got to be able to work your diaphragm a little bit.
Killed it is what he did. He killed it. Welcome to the Thursday Night Throwdown, sponsored by the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. As he said, he's the Midnight Rider. I'm the big guy, KG. We here to guide you through the end of your Friday Eve and getting you ready. Because tomorrow morning when you wake up, for those of you that are initiated and get paid tomorrow, you can sing a little Johnny Kemp, just got paid on Friday night, party hunting. So, give you a little something to do.
You got that good direct deposit. You can say that right now because you already got paid.
You got paid a day early. So, man, as the Midnight Rider said, we're going to take you through everything. Let's start it off right now. One, Linda Cohn. For those of you that have watched SportsCenter over the years, have watched ESPN, period. And I'm talking Kenny Mayne, Rich Eisen, Stuart Scott, Charlie Stein, SportsCenter. You know who Linda Cohn is. Linda Cohn has come into your home on I believe it was the 6 and 7 p.m. Sports centers mostly at the time, and then she was on the 6 for the longest. She is retiring. Her last Sports Center will be tomorrow. She officially retires on June 30th. So we're talking almost 34 years. Her first show was July 11th, 1992. Her final show will be June 26, 2026. Not sure what her plans are in retirement, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there because I'm going to do everything to make sure she sees this. If you ever want to talk sports, Linda, the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network would love to have you. I would sit and talk sports with you until the cows come home. As a former employee of ESPN Zone, I heard her voice countless times on trivia questions, sports centers, commercials, whatever you have at work. I knew Linda Cohn's voice. I can close my eyes and I can hear her. She's a legend. And I don't like to throw that word around lightly. She's a legend in the game. And to say that she's retiring is bittersweet because everybody wants to go on to the next chapter. But not being able to see Linda Cohn on TV ain't where it's at for me. But man, I understand it.
Man, you better just go ahead and get your Spotify podcast or whatever it is, because there's no way she's not going to be on Rich Eisen's podcast when they talk about Sports Center. There's no way she's not going to be on her own. I think she's going to do her own thing. And the one thing I give her credit for, and I know she had to be brave to do this because she's not a prototype. She's not a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman. So she doesn't fit in the stereotypical normal thing that TV does. And so she had to create her space by being legitimately good at her job. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that to disparage her at all. I mean that because she had to work for every ounce. She had to earn her spot through being knowledgeable between being good at what she does. And with that being said, she was one of the best. In the words of John Thompson, I would say simply the best. And let you go from there.
Matty Ice said it big. She's a huge NHL fan too. Most definitely. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. You want to do a podcast? Come on over to the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. We will find some space for you to have Linda Cohn on the roster. Jeez, let's go.
That'd be the upset of the year.
Let's go. But I don't. It's not many words in the English dictionary that can express the joy that you get when your people, and I say your people because everybody, and this is the theme of the night. The title of the show is the Thursday Night Throwdown-DC Mount Rushmore. We talking sportscasters in DC.
Now you gotta get more specific. Huh? You gotta give them the specific. No, we're not talking about guys on the radio.
No.
We're not talking about guys doing that national TV. We're not talking about those guys. We're talking about guys that you got to watch at the desk. Renee Poussaint would turn to him. Susan Kidd had to turn to him. You know what I'm saying?
Gordon Peterson had to turn to him.
That's what we're going with. We're going with those people. So we talking about people that you had to see on Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 11, Channel 13 if you had the Baltimore channels. Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about.
And that's why I say, when I say your people, that's what I mean by your people. Those people that you had to watch. For me, Stuart Scott, Linda Cohn, Rich Eisen, Kenny Mayne, Van Pelt, gotta watch. Like, I should be asleep most nights when Sports Center comes on now. But I like to peek in and see what Van Pelt's doing. See what Van Pelt's talking, because that's my guy. Like Van Pelt used to show up on Kevin Sheehan's show
Right.
Him and Tom Lavero, he used to always be on it, especially when he was in town. Van Pelt reps for the DC, not DMV. He rep for DC. His intro is a go-go intro, and I love it on a national show. So I love that. Those are your people. Linda Cohn was one of my people. Is one of my people.
So
And
you can
go ahead.
sum it up in a simple way. We're not talking about national people. I think there's a little segment on a show. Um, it's a street. There's a big bird on it. It's called Sesame Street, and they talk about who are the people in your neighborhood, and that's what we kind of talking about. The people you watched in your neighborhood, people you grew up on, the people that when you had to grab that set of pliers and you had to turn that TV, or you had to take the bunny ears and hold them just right so the channel come in clear. That's the people we talking about. And it ain't got to be all from that era. But some of them people got to be from that era if we're going to be logistically correct in talking about the Mount Rushmore and how Mount Rushmore is set up. And I'm taking it that we have two separate Mount Rushmores, correct?
I'm sure we do.
All right, cool. Let's go. Let's rock with
So,
it, baby.
with that being said, happy trails to Linda Cohn. I can't wait to see what you do next. I'll make this a reel so you can see this, and I'll make sure I tag you. But hopefully, you come on over. You got a spot here. We got a space for you. So, next up, I like this right here because Maddie, he said, you need me to come on and talk Caps. Yes, because I think the Caps are making chess moves, and this ain't checkers. And the only person that can explain this to me the correct way, maybe bring me down out the clouds, get me back on the ground, maybe get me out of the doldrums if I'm afraid, is the one, the only, the host of the Drive Time, 5 p.m. on Mondays, Mr. Matty Ice. Matty.
What up, fellas? How you doing, guys? Oh,
Good, man.
man,
How you
no,
doing, man?
just good. Teddy just woke up from his nap, so when I was doing these weird hand signals, I was making faces at him. So
All good, man. Teddy's an unofficial official.
that's right, he is basically. So yeah, nothing to talk about for the Washington Capitals, is there?
Nah, not at all.
Call it a night. Which one you guys want to talk about first?
Well, I want to start with, let's go in the order. Actually, no, let's
Okay.
go backwards. Let's work backwards.
Okay.
So today we got LaPierre going to Pittsburgh for, I think, a third and a fifth.
Third and fifth. Yep.
Some people think that's too rich for LaPierre. One of the guys that was in the passenger seat with us, Monk Wells, said he'd love to have what Pittsburgh was drinking when they made that deal. Why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about that?
I'm in agreement with that too, because to get great, the third's in 27, the fifth's in 28, so it's not like these are picks for this year or anything like that. But still, he was going to be a restricted free agent. He only had 16 points in 74 games with Washington. I think he only had 4 goals last year.
Yeah.
At best, he's a third, fourth line guy. He was going to be a restricted free agent, so I don't think Washington had any plans on signing him again anyway. So to get anything for him was kind of golden. So, and then to get 2 picks for him, it's even better. So yeah, I don't know what the hell Pittsburgh's doing, but of all the weird moves, that's still not the weirdest move, I think. So Pittsburgh, it's a strange move, but Chicago's the team right now that I don't have any clue what they're doing. But that we'll save that for drive time. But yeah. No, yeah, it's a great move for Washington. Getting anything for a guy that you had no plans on signing is a smart business decision.
Well, let's stay in that realm of thought process, because then the next move is Tuch or Tooch
Tuck.
from the Sabres to the Capitals. He signs a 8-year. I'm gonna do it in your terms. 8 by 10.5, so an 8-year, $10.5 million dollar deal. He's acquired for, I want to say it was a third round. Is last I've heard.
Yeah, third round last year, third round next year, and then a guy that's going to be he's going to be an unsigned free agent anyway. So more than likely he's not. I don't think even Buffalo's signing him, but I don't think Washington was signing him either. So
Okay, so let's talk about that.
yeah, so I mean, you remember how many ever moons ago I was on with you guys, I always told you guys that when Washington, for at the end of the season, how Washington was going to rebuild this roster was not going to be through free agency. It was going to be through trades. Now, technically, Tucker was going to be a free agent on July 1st. Buffalo was trying to get him signed. It seemed very obvious that Buffalo was not going to be able to get him signed. So smartly, Buffalo just threw out the basically the rights to sign him, which is what the deal is, which is why they didn't get a lot back. The fact that most of the time when you get these deals, it's usually for a fourth, maybe fifth rounder. So they did get a third round out of Washington, but it's a third round next year. It's not even this year's draft. So, um, that's fine. And now he's clearly was the best free agent on the board. He's a guy that is immediately going to go right into your top six. Now he is 30 years old, so you're talking about an 8-year deal on a 30-year-old. So you're talking he's going to be 38 at the end of it, and it is 10.5 million a year. But he had 33 goals last year, 66 points. Had a really solid round against Boston. A little bit of bad luck against Montreal. He didn't score any goals against Montreal, but he had plenty of chances. It wasn't like he disappeared, just couldn't buy a goal. He's got 448 points with 200 goals in 615 games. So he's going to clearly be in the top six for Washington. It's a great move to add to that scoring depth, which at times Washington was having trouble putting the puck in the net. So this definitely adds to that. He's pretty solid defensively. My only concern would be, again, it's 8 years, and he's going to be 38 at the end of this contract. How long can he play at this level? Down the road, but that's going to be a down the road problem, maybe. But for now, it's a good move. Some might call it an overpay, but he was going to get 10 million from somebody. Like this, just he's the top free agent class with the salary caps going up for all the teams. Teams have money to play with, so somebody was going to give him 10 million. So I don't think 8 for 10.5 is that big of an overpay. Jeff Nail and I were talking about it. He brought up the fact that what does Washington do with Tom Wilson, because he just kind of signed his deal and he's getting a measly 5 million a year. I'm sure there might be some talks with him and his agents to say, hey, and I'm sure Wilson's never been a money chaser. So I'm sure that there were conversations about, hey, we're going to bring this guy in, but to do it, we're going to have to pay him more than what you're making. Are you cool with that? And I'm sure Wilson probably said, hell yeah. So, but I'm sure there'll probably be something that they do for him on his next deal to maybe, help smooth that over if there is any tension at all.
Right. And the 10 years the 8 years on this deal does take him to 38, but this is kind of the same deal. This isn't, so it's funny because I'm going to use the same example for both players that we talk about. But Oshie, the Oshie deal, they got him to the end of it. Now he had
Yeah.
to go kicking and screaming and laying on the floor towards the end, but you got a Stanley Cup out of it. You got a highly productive player out of it. Yes, the last 2 or 3 years were tenuous because he was hurt the whole time and he had to basically sacrifice his body for those last 2 years. But I think if you win a title, it doesn't matter
Right.
how you do that. I
And
think this team is more about getting the chip more so than how this ends.
yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, it's a deal that to me, I had no issues with it. Being an outsider, it clearly makes them better, and that's what that's what you want. Like if you're trying to entice Ov to come back for one more year, I think you want him to feel like you've got a legitimate shot at a run for a title. And so this move with adding Jordan Kyrou, definitely, I does that for Washington.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to the last one. The last one, help me out on the pronunciation of this one.
Jordan Kyrou.
Kyrou. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So this is one of those deals of all the deals that happened. Remember, when we're going into when we're talking about the end of the hockey season, I told you guys the off season for the NHL is so condensed in the fact that a lot of this stuff happens, but I've never seen this many trades before the draft like what we have this year. So between a combination of teams being scared of not being able to re-sign these restricted free agents, because most of these deals are involving these restricted free agents, and the way that it works is that a team can make an offer, throw out an offer sheet. The team that has them has the right to match it. If
Right.
they don't match it, then they get draft picks. Well, in the NHL, it's always kind of been a no-no. Like there's only been a couple of these that have ever happened. But this year, there seems to be a lot of talk that there's going to be some of these offer sheets thrown out there because teams have this money to play with that they've never really had been before. So they've never really gone after these restricted free agents. So all these moves are involving restricted free agents, and that's who Washington sends back to St. Louis for, to get Cairo. So the official deal is Cairo for McMichael, and then also you guys gave up one of your two picks, which you gave up the first pick, which is number 16, and then you also gave up another prospect in Milton Gastrin. So that's what goes back. So I think this, of all the deals that have happened, I think this is one of the deals that can make sense for both teams. Cairo is, again, he's a winger.
Right.
He's a solid player. He had 46 points last year with 18 goals. He is a phenomenal two-way player. So he plays a lot of the penalty kill too. So he is that type of player that I think Cadbury likes to have because he can play both ends of the ice. So he's going to kill penalties for you too, but he can put the puck in the net. Had a little bit down year last year with goals, but that's only because I think of the team that he played on. The big part is he's got 5 years left at a contract that pays him 8.125. So he's locked in for 5 years. But overall, 378 points with 168 goals and 488 games. So it's a great ad. Now you do lose McMichael, who, granted, they moved him from winger to center, and I don't know that move worked out well for him. He had kind of a down year compared to the year before.
Right.
He seems like St. Louis is going to throw him back at winger, but again, he is a restricted free agent, so they still have to sign him. Gastrin's a little bit interesting at the prospect they gave up because he's only 19. He was a second-round pick last year. He had 24 points in the top Sweden league. So, but he hasn't signed an entry-level deal yet. So we'll see how that plays out long-term. Maybe that's probably the piece that St. Louis was probably more interested in than
Right.
McMichael. But we'll see how that plays out. But again, from Washington's side, you got to give to get. So yeah, they give up McMichael. They give up that one of their 2 first-round picks that they had to play with. But that's what they have the draft capital to do. And you're not drafting a guy that can play like Cairo can. So this draft is not that deep. So to get a guy like that for that 16th pick, smart move.
And then also, I mean, we always talk about, the depth of the rounds in hockey is different from the depth of like an NBA draft where, you go from 1 to 16, you still got guys that you're
Yeah.
playing this year. In hockey, the guy that you're taking at 16 isn't getting playing time 2 or 3 years down the road as he
Right.
develops
It's really more like the baseball draft. Like
exactly.
baseball and hockey are very similar in the sense that guys that are drafted this year, more, other than maybe 3 or 4 of them, are not making the NHL team this year. They may not even sign their entry level deals this year. So that's, yeah, you're exactly right. So it's not like the NBA or the NFL draft where you draft a player, you're kind of expecting them to be on the team and produce, immediately.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you a question. I know I didn't give you this ahead of time, but it looks like the Caps have a glutton of right wingers right now. You got Tom Wilson, you got Cairo, you have Tuck, and you got Ryan Leonard. So who goes over to the left side, and then where does Ovi fit in this?
I think you're going to probably Tuck can play both sides of the ice, and so can
Okay.
Cairo. So both of them have played a little bit of left wing. That's probably going to be the two, or I don't know, maybe they try to throw Leonard in at center because he's also is technically a center, and that's the position of need. Like when the Caps were going to draft, I had them taking 2 centers at both of their picks because I think that is the position of need. That hasn't gone away yet, but we'll see what they do. I think there's a couple guys that they're probably going to try to move into center, and we'll see how that goes. So instead of moving from right wing to left wing, you could see them at center too, and I could see that with Leonard if he's ready for that.
So they have Pierre-Luc Dubois as one center. Who's the second center?
Let me pull it up here because I'll be
It,
honest with you, I
no,
gotta
no,
look
it's
at the
okay. I know I sprung that on you because I'm thinking, yeah, you can put because in hockey I know the top 6 is important, but if you can go 3, 4 lines deep, that becomes a thing. That's the Carolina way.
it is.
Having the wave. You have the wave of 4 lines that are good. You make up for not being elite on the top line because you make it up in the aggregate.
Right, and that's where, like, you talk about Carolina, because that's where I know, like, Jeff and I, and we've all been kind of talking about how does this get them. Like it clearly, to me, the Caps are now it's the Canes and Caps 1-2 in the Metro as it stands here today. Those two I think will be the top two teams in the Metro for sure. So where does that all play out long term? Like I still think the Canes are better only because I think the Caps may have a better 1 through 6, but that 1
At
through
turn, right?
12 is where the Canes, I mean, it's how they dominate in the playoffs. Their third and fourth lines just carry them because the third and fourth lines are just better than what everybody else has. So I think Washington's definitely there. Yeah. So you got Pierre-Luc Dubois, Justin Sordiff, and Dylan Strome are right now the only three listed on your roster as centers.
So Dylan Strome and Pierre-Luc Dubois are normally 1 and 2. I
Yep.
think they done played them, and
And
then
Sordiff is probably
sort
going to be
of,
your fourth line
yeah,
center, I would
yeah.
think. So yeah, so you're
Well,
clearly moving somebody. One of these guys is gonna, or there's another move to be made. But I could see them trying to maybe move Leonard to center because he did play that in college some.
But why would you take? Why wouldn't you just make him a left? Because you're going. Because you also have to take care of the Protus brothers too.
Yep, because you got both of them coming up.
So either the Protus brothers are on your third line.
And
Um,
well, because Ovi's your other left wing, so if Ovi's coming back, he's locked in.
yeah,
And
but
then
he's
you got the
probably left
Protus,
in the second line.
right?
I wouldn't put him on
And
my first because I'd go Ovi, some version of Ovi, Dylan Strome, and Tuck. No, I'm sorry,
yeah, that could work.
Iru, because I'd put Tuck on the first line. It'd be Tuck, Dubois, because that way we can bring the hammer and
Man,
Wilson.
if Kyrou is on the same line with Ovi, that's gonna be fun to watch.
I mean,
It really is going to be.
him
I
along with Wilson. I mean Wilson.
True, but Kyrou can pass the puck. Like you remember, we always talk about the days of Backstrom and how Backstrom knew how to feed Ovi. Kyrou can pass the puck too. Like he can score, but he's a gifted passer. Like if they put him on the same line with Ovi, that especially on the power play, like if he can figure out how to feed Ovi in the office, that that's
I
that's
mean,
that's going to be dangerous for a lot of teams.
but the other part that's good too is looking at some of the. I think I was in the Chase Hughes. Is that there? I think that this no, not Chase Hughes. Greenberg. He was talking earlier about Tuck and Kyrou had great percentages of scoring um 5-on-5. And I know that was
Yeah,
a problem for this team as well, scoring five
yeah,
on five. And then if you're talking about the power play, I think last year they were at the bottom in terms of power play, and these two guys instantly give you credibility on your power play. And then whatever you get in the growth of Ryan Leonard, I mean, this could be a team like you said. You said too. I still worry about the Panthers because the Panthers give them matchup nightmares. But of course, I know the Panthers don't have a goalie yet.
they
You
do
know, I
not.
know they got the Kachuk brothers, but they don't have the goalie. So that's their
They
problem or their thing to solve this year.
They do not, and Bob seems to want 6, 6 and 7, and not to do the 6-7 gag, but that is what he wants. So, and that's a 37-year-old goaltender wanting 6 years and $7 million a year.
That's
So,
that's not happening.
yeah, I don't see it happening either. And maybe that dose of reality, maybe that's one of those ones where Florida can come back to him and say, hey, how about 3 or 4 million in 2 years? And I think maybe then he'll think about taking it because that's probably what his market value is about 4 million a year. But hey, teams got money to spend, and Buffalo's looking for a goalie. The latest rumor that I just saw tonight is that the Canes are supposedly trying to get Halibut from Winnipeg for Nishishkin, the defensive man that's a restricted free agent and their first round pick this year. So and that move says to me Carolina's trying to keep Halibut away from Florida.
Right.
So that's one of those moves. Make yourself stronger by making sure that your opponents can't get them. Because Caps don't need a goalie. Logan Thompson was phenomenal last year. So, but it does keep Halibut out of Buffalo, and it keeps him out of Florida. So that would be interesting if that ends up happening. But we'll see.
So with Carolina, if Carolina adds a goalie, who's the odd man out? Is it Anderson?
Well, Anderson, I think is going to retire anyway. That's my gut towards Anderson is that he's retiring anyway. But they still have Pyotr Kochekov and then Brandon Bussey. So I think it'd be Pyotr would be the odd man out. I think they would ride with Bussey as the 1B, and that'd be even good for Hallebuck because he doesn't have to play every game. So he can play 50, 60 games and be rested for the playoffs, something that he could never do in Winnipeg. So we'll see how that all plays out. But that's if that even happens. I'm still not sold on it.
All right, so let's take us through that because hockey is different from other sports where you can have one goalie as your main. Some teams do the 1 and 2, like the Caps is doing that with Lindenberg and Thompson, and then when they get to crunch time, Thompson becomes the main guy. Um, what's the benefit of me having two goalies that I can switch off and give a night off here and there, and I don't have to play my goalie 84 nights of the year? I can pay him 50 or 45.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's changed because it used to be like in the days of Marty Brodeur. I mean, Brodeur would play 70 games,
Right.
70 games a season. But I think some of it is because of the condensed schedule. So you've got more of these back-to-back nights, and it's just hard as a goalie to go one night playing. And I know it sounds weird because yes, you're facing 20, 30 shots depending on the team and stuff like that. But it's a lot of up and down for the goalies. It's a lot of abuse on your knees. So there's with the NHL condensing their schedule, I think the need to have two decent goalies is way stronger because the schedule is just far more condensed. So you want to have guys, you want to have two guys that you feel comfortable with that can win games. So
Now,
I think that's why you're seeing more and more teams try to do this 1A and 1B thing. And that's also why you're not seeing the goalies positions get the $8 million contracts anymore because teams I think would rather have two. I think teams would rather have two really good goalies at that $8 million total
right.
spending spree than having a damn great goalie and then a guy that we're just crossing our fingers and hoping that somehow we score more than the other team when he plays.
Okay. Okay. Do you, since we don't have the Olympics this year, do you expect bigger space in the schedule coming up? Because even though we're going to 84 games, we don't have that window to work. We don't have to fight and put 82 games in the small window before and after the Olympic
Yeah.
break.
It is back to kind of a normal schedule. I think the training camps start in early September. If I remember right, the first games are starting the last weekend in September, and then the regular season is supposed to end like right around Aprilish. Like so, it's back to kind of what I'll call a normal schedule because they don't have the Olympic break. They're not doing the Four Nations. I think it's just back to the traditional All-Star game weekend this year. So should see it a little bit better, but there's they're still going to have these. It's still a tight window. You're still going to have the home and homes, and they still have these 5-day breaks that was written into the collective bargaining agreement. So teams have five. It's like 5 days that they don't play at all. So so they got like this little break in the somewhere in the season. Just depends on how it falls out for the schedule. So it's a little bit better schedule this year because you don't have the Olympics, but. So we'll see. But yeah, 84 games though. So you're adding 2 more games into that too.
So to get you out of here, where can people come get this wealth, this vast wealth of hockey knowledge on a weekly basis? Because
Well,
there's
the
a
big
show that I can get it
there
from.
is drive time for normally Mondays at 5, but we're not going to be on this Monday at 5. We're going to do a special episode Wednesday right at 12 noon. That is July 1st because that is the day of the NHL free agency starts. Now, granted, the free agency class isn't necessarily that great, but as you're seeing, I think there's going to be a lot of trades that happen that Wednesday morning too. So we'll be on live. We'll talk about all these the trades that happened on Tuesday because there were along with the Washington one, there was a few other big ones. We'll break down the first round of the draft, which is tomorrow night, and then we will be on live the first 2 hours of free agency. So as these free agent moves do come in, we'll be there and break them down right as they happen. And then that following week, we're going to start doing each team, starting at the bottom of the league standings, working our way all the way up to the top of the league standings. We're going to do 5 to 6 teams a week, and we'll break them down as far as who did they add, who did they lose, and do we think if they'll be better or worse than what they were last year.
Hey, before I let you go, I know we got some comments. Oh,
Yeah,
look at we got a little, as we call it on this show. It's called a Q and Anthony.
that's fine. I do
All
like
right.
the Q and Anthony, so it's all good.
Um, Matt, in your honest opinion, who's the greatest defenseman of all time for the Capitals?
I'm sure a lot of people would probably go Carlson just because he's won the cup, with them, but it's Rod Langway.
Yeah,
It's Rod
he's
Langway and then everybody else. I mean, Rod Langway was a very really good defenseman on a lot of really bad Washington teams. And then he did get a little bit of a run there at the end during the Ole Kolzig years, which was good to see. But yeah, it's Rod Langway and then everybody else.
And you have the young wingers that they drafted that they believe is going to be probably going to be a replacement for Ovi when he retires. I don't think that. I think the younger wingers that they've drafted are going to end up in the lower levels. I think they're going to be the 3 and 4 lines until, especially with the moves you just made. Um, I think one of the Protus brothers moves up to the second line if Ovi doesn't come
Yeah.
back. And then after that, I think it's the older one. And I think you let the young one grow into his body and figure out what he's going to be.
Yeah, and let's be honest, you can't draft anyone and say this is going to be the next Alexander Ovechkin.
Right.
Like there's like that that's a generational talent that you just can't predict. I mean, Ovi has the ability. Like there are two players that I've seen play in my lifetime that have the ability throughout the course of a game where the puck just always seems to find them. Ovi is one of them, and of course Gretzky's the other one. Like I don't know how they do it, but the puck, they always just seem to know where to go to be where the puck is going to be. Like, and Gretzky was the best at it. Like he knew where the puck was going, I think, before the player that had the puck knew where it was going a lot of the time. And Ovi has that same capability of knowing that. So you can't get a player thinking that they're going to be the next Ovi. What you do want to find are players that fit what your coach does. And I think that's what they have a lot of. And Cadbury's a little bit, Ovi's kind of not really a Cadbury's style, I don't think, but it's Ovi, so you live with it, and you let Ovi do what Ovi's going to do. But he likes those two-way guys. I think he's trying to do something very similar to what he sees in Carolina. And look, the NHL's always been a copycat league, and
Right.
what Carolina did is what Florida did. Like that style of play of having team depth and maybe not necessarily having the big superstar, but having a lot of really good players. You're going to see a lot of teams trying to duplicate that.
So do you think, because you keep saying the puck finds them, isn't that also the benefit of them playing with, God, why did the Sweden kids, Backstrom
Backstrom?
playing with Backstrom and like a Messier, didn't that help those guys in those
Well,
situations?
but see, Gretzky never really played with Messier. They were both captains, so they never were on the same line. Gretzky played with Curry a lot, and now he
Okay.
did have that knowledge of Yari, and in that sense, yes, because he had somebody that he always played with. So once you have two players that just they know where each other is, but not only with his teammates, but I'm talking about like when the other team would have the puck. Like Gretzky would have a way of knowing where they were going with the puck before they even did, and Ovi has that same capability of kind of knowing where the puck is going to be. Now, as he's gotten older, his ability to play that, he's lost a little bit of that edge that he had. But look, he's still the best one-time shot I've ever seen in my life, in the office.
All right, so I think this is back to Bob. Matt, there's actually a team that's willing to give him. That's why he's asking Florida for that deal. Edmonton is desperate for a goalie. They're probably offering him that term. Well, I'd say let him go to Edmonton.
Yeah,
And
then let him go to Edmonton. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Look, Bob was not good last year either. Now, some of that could be a bunch of things. It could be the fact that Florida wasn't as good in front of him.
Right.
It could be the fact that, again, you're talking about a goalie that on a team that had 3 really deep runs that maybe just was hitting,
They were
fumes.
tired. Yeah.
Right. So maybe it's all of that, and maybe Bob does bounce back. But you're still talking about a 36, 37-year-old goaltender that is, 37. Yeah, and I'm not giving a 37-year-old 6 years, me personally. But yeah, would Edmonton do it? Maybe. He's right. Edmonton's desperate for a goalie. They've been desperate for a goalie for years. But if I'm Edmonton, I would look at trying to either get a Binnington or a Hellebuck before I would spend the money on Bob for 6 and 7.
All right, so let's go.
Yeah.
Let's start with the beginning because you rolled right into his comment. Matt, I'm going to say this. I think the Panthers make a crazy trade, but it's not for a player from, I guess that's Winnipeg. He's saying.
Yep.
Pick that. People think. I think they're going to go after Kyle O'Connor. And then he says, I think they go for Bill Bennington from St. Louis. So Bennington is a name that's out there. Who's Kyle O'Connor, if you don't mind me asking?
He's plays for Winnipeg too, but that's the other. He's one of their stronger forward players. So I could see both of them. The only thing I think I can't remember now where they're at cap wise with the Brady number hitting.
Right.
They added another player today from Philadelphia, Garnet Hathaway, because it looks like AJ Greer is going to go to
Oh,
market.
that's my
So
guy.
yeah, so AJ Greer is going to go to market because he's that. So Florida signed that kind of like that replacement because again, same thing. The money that AJ Greer is going to get, Florida doesn't have right now. So the problem that I think Florida is going to have on some of these guys is, Bennington said at his contract, he's got another year or two left. Connor's, still got a year or two left. So they're going to have to move out somebody to get one of those players. They're probably going to have to move out an Evan Rodriguez or someone, a couple players. They might have to move out two players to make that type of move work salary cap wise. Doesn't mean they can't do it. And look, if there's anything that I've learned, it's that if there's a move out there that Bill Zito can make to make the Florida Panthers better, he's going to do it and then figure out the rest later.
Right.
So, I see them going after either one of those two players? Yes, I can. I could also still see them making a move for Hallebuck. I don't think the Hallebuck talk out of Florida is dead too yet either. But the problem that Florida has, if they want to try to get Hallebuck too, is because they just made the trade for Brady Tkachuk. They don't have a number one this year. They don't
Right.
have a number one next year. They probably don't have a number one the year after that, unless their pick ends up being a top 10 protected. But the chances of Florida being again out of the bottom 10 is probably not really that good over the next couple of years. They're going to be a playoff
So,
team. So I don't know where that goes for them because they don't have the draft capital that other teams have to play with.
so could Benetton be a move they make because of not because of desperation, but because maybe they're trying to move off of some salary or it's a salary dump type of thing, and you can get them a prospect or two, or that's not really the option. It's got to be the draft picks.
Yeah, I don't know what St. Louis wants. That's just it because like they've
Yeah.
got like they've been. I mean, they just made this move to get rid of Kairu. They got some other guys that have been in the rumor mill for them for a while. Robert Thomas, one of their centers, is a guy that might move, and Bennington's name has been out there, but they haven't made any of these moves yet. So I don't know what St. Louis. I don't know what they want to do because they weren't that far off from the playoffs. So could they make a move or two to try to add? But the move of getting rid of Kairu kind of suggests that maybe they're looking at something different. So, yeah, Bennington's out there, and I think he's gettable. It just depends on what you. But I think from what I've heard, anyways, that St. Louis wants an NHL ready player that's on the roster now and a pick. So if that's what they want. And granted, St. Louis has 3 number 1 picks this year, so they can do a lot of things they want to do too. So it's going to be fun. Like I still think there's moves to be had before this draft kicks off tomorrow night. It's going to be crazy.
All right, so let's get you out on this. Where can people see this great hockey knowledge that you're bestowing upon us today? One more time.
Normally drive times 5 o'clock on Mondays, but again, July 1st, it's going to be our special free agency one. And if I can throw out the one show again coming up on July 20th, because that's the show that I'm still super super stoked and excited about. July 20th is when we're going to have our show with Coach Devon and the Pretenders and Contenders. It's going to be Monday, July 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. And this is if you have any kids that are involved in youth sports at all, this show is going to be for you because we are going to be talking with coaches and officials. We're going to have 4 coaches, 4 officials. We're going to talk about how to build better relationships between the coaches and officiating. We're going to talk about the lack of a better word, the issues that coaches and officials are having with some of the parents and parental behavior at these sporting events. And then third and most importantly, try to figure out ways to get more people involved in officiating because the numbers across every sport for officials is down. And if you like your kids playing sports, the bottom line is you may love us, you may hate us, but you need officials out there in order to do that. And a lot of cities are having issues with being able to have sports teams because they don't have people to officiate the games. So that's going to be on July 20th. I'm really looking forward to that.
And there's one more.
There is? What's the
Yeah.
other one?
Are we placing people out of
Yeah,
the?
July. I forgot about that one. July 27th. Thank you. Yeah, July 27th. And I'm going to do another one of my series. We did one on betting and how that's affecting professional sports. This one is going to be our sports teams pricing their fans out from watching games or going to games. And it's crazy looking at some of these numbers out there of what it costs for a family of 4 to go to a sporting event now.
Exactly. And don't forget, tomorrow we got the open mic, the Friday night freestyle. So if you want to, you got a topic, you want to drop it in there, or you want to jump in if you had time.
Well,
Hey, it's all look. The Friday night freestyle is all open mics. So
it's
if
a
anybody
Friday
wants
night, and the guards are home, so you know where I'm going to be
yeah,
tomorrow
yeah,
night.
yeah. You're getting a beer. That's exactly where you at.
I'll be at the corner of Carnegie and Ontario tomorrow,
Exactly.
watching Cleveland attempt to get hits without Jose Ramirez in the lineup.
There you go. All right, man. Well, thank you for your time, man.
All right, guys.
We'll see you Wednesday at 12 because you're doing the
Wednesday,
preview.
12 noon. You got it.
All right. And you know I'll
All right,
be
thanks
watching.
for.
All right,
Yep.
man.
All right, guys. Take care. Appreciate it.
All right, Maggie.
All right, John Houston Stockton, take this commercial.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was the great Matty Ice, host of Drive Time. So we're gonna take a break, come back, we're gonna reset the offense and get you through the rest of the show. When we come back, we got some NBA news, we got the Miles report, and then we got our piece of resistance. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thursday Night Throwdown, where we are taking you across the sports world. First and foremost, before I say that, Omaha. We're gonna take you through what's up next. We got the NBA, talking about what's going on in the NBA. We've got a lot of trades that have happened between now and then, but we also know that on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m., we have Nothing But Net that gives you all the NBA stuff. So think about this. If you're a sports fan, you say, hey, I want to know about the NHL. What you do? Well, Mondays, you got Drive Time this week. We got a special on July 1st. But any other time of the week, on Mondays, you can go there. And then there's also another thing. You ain't got to watch it live. You can go back and say, hey, because I subscribe, like the Sideline Junkies on YouTube, I can go back and watch the episodes. I can just put in the title of the shows and I can see it. Then you be like, hey, we need one more option. Well, guess what we can do? See, so tonight, this show is now. Tomorrow morning at some point after 9 a.m., you can get the audio version of it. So now, if you don't want to see it, because you might not be able to look at TV and see YouTube at work, but you can still listen to it. So then you go to your audio mediums where you get your podcasts. You stream these things normally. We're not inconveniencing you. We are here to help you. Help me, help you. Let us be your ambassador, Quan. That's all I'm saying. It's the Thursday Night Throwdown. I'm the Midnight Rider. He's the big guy KG. Now I'm gonna let him take over from here and do his thing. Omaha.
Like that. There you go.
Subscribe, like on YouTube.
Appreciate that, Meatloaf. Now we talking some NBA news. The big news that came out today, the Minnesota Timberwolves. We talked about chess versus checkers. The Minnesota Timberwolves trade Naz Reid to Charlotte for along with picks for LaMelo Ball. Let me get this right. Hold on. It was LaMelo Ball and another player. God bless him. Of course, it's not going to load now that I want it.
Nas Reed.
They sent another 2 players. Hornets sends 2 players.
Oh, Josh Green.
Josh Green, that's who it was. Nas Reed and a series of draft picks. So now you're going to have a backcourt of Ant Edwards and Melo Ball. Yeah. I smell danger. Watch your back. Danger. Get on the floor. The Timberwolves right here. Sing it. I like this trade.
I couldn't tell. I thought you sounded like you was on the fence, brother.
I like this trade.
Here's a stat. And let me hold on. Let me Collinsworth it. Now here's a stat. Last season, Ed Edwards shot 49% on threes that he got off the pass. All right. Here's the beauty of this. Who's a good passer on his team now? LaMelo Ball. So LaMelo Ball technically can make his job easier. The only problem is they're in the West. For now. Now, I know there's talk about moving them or Memphis to the East when this whole league thing, this expansion thing happens. But for right now, like, I'm going to say the West is going to be tough, but I'm making another prognostication. Yo, it's going to be a dogfight to get out of the East. It's going to be a dogfight to get out of the East. I think this is going to be the first time in a long time where both conferences are going to be balanced and equal, because you're going to have, like, we're not even talking about, like, I've heard people talk about Miami. I've heard people talk about Boston. I hear people talking about the Knicks. Of course, Toronto is always lingering. Halliburton comes back. So now you got Indiana. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you right now, when I look at this team on paper, let's not think somebody drinking the Kool-Aid when they say Washington can be in this top 6 mix. Because if you go Young, George, DeBonsa, Sarr, Davis, that's your starting 5. You come off the bench with Carrington, Koulibaly, Trey Johnson. You got an option with Champagnie. You got the Vucevic kid. Like, this team has options. Their second unit ain't nobody's normal second unit. Because all these kids done played, and I didn't even mention Will Rowley. They're 11 deep right now. Now, here's the question. This is where the Brian Keefe situation gets plucky. Because if he doesn't start off well, they could make a move on him. But I'm going to tell you right now, everybody that's saying the name Tom Thibodeau, no. This is an offensive-based team. You don't want Thibodeau coming in here, and this team has a lot of players that can score and produce. You don't want Thibodeau running this. This is a team that needs an offensive mind. You know, maybe you take a guy off the Heat staff. Maybe you take a guy, and I'm gonna say it, but I know I don't have any faith in it. So I'm gonna apologize to you now, KG, because it's gonna tickle your fancy. But I don't believe he's gonna get the job. Sam Cassell. But I don't believe he's gonna get the job.
No. They got something out against Sam Cassell, and I don't know what it is.
I'm telling you what it is.
I'm gonna tell you one. You may not agree with it, but you saying offensive, Stan Van Gundy.
Nope.
I said you wasn't gonna agree with it, but I'm just saying Van Gundy.
Team too young.
Yeah, but see, that's just it.
Christ, no. Oh, I'm sorry. Hell Hell to the no.
No. Because
No.
look, Mike D'Antoni gonna come in here. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna win 55 games and lose in the first round.
No, he not even gonna do that because he can't. Oh my God! Please don't start this rant. Don't start this. There's a couple of lawnmower starters, and he's one of them. So I'm not letting you start this lawnmower.
No, I agree with you. Hell no.
I'm talking about Anthony. I'm not letting him start this.
But I'm gonna tell you a team. You talk about the Wizards, and the way you talk about the Wizards, I'm looking at the roster for the Timberwolves. They can go ahead and go 3 guards in their starting lineup. You got Ball, Dosamu, who they just signed to an extension, and Edwards. Those are your 3 guards. Rudy Gobert in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find somebody to put it to power forward. Jaden McDaniels, if you want. He's a big body. You just get you another big body down low. And that's your starters. All they got to do is find some scoring off the bench. They're good. Because Dosamu, for the money that he's getting, I don't think he's going to come off the bench too much longer.
No. So the lineup I saw has Dosamu at the 3. But this is one of the conversations I had. Like I was yelling at Chris Russell yesterday. I love Chris, but he allows me to yell at him sometimes. It's like, why are we worrying about a lineup in June? It's June 25th. And if this guy can coach any, then he's going to have lineups where you're not going to, like 1, 2, 3 doesn't matter because the Wizards have a lot of light kind quality parts. There's a lot of 6'8", 6'9" guys that are athletic and that can shoot the basketball. There's a lot of 6'10" guys. Their only problem is a lot of these guys are still light in the ass.
Yes. I said that so many times when they were showing the graphic during the first round, second round of the draft. I said, yeah, this guy got to get in the gym.
But the kid they drafted from Tennessee is the perfect person for this team. Because he's 6'11", he's about 240. He just started playing basketball when he turned 16. And the thing about him is, I think it wasn't Rick Barnes. Whoever the Tennessee coach is, maybe it is Rick Barnes. He kept it real simple for him. He said, you don't shoot much. I think he has 27 3-pointers in his 4-year career at Tennessee. He's a rebounder, he's a shot blocker, and he's a dunker. And all that means, and all I'm saying in that is, if you know your role and you shut the hell up, you're gonna get time and you're gonna play. That's all I'm gonna say.
So if I had to pick a comp, I know you may not agree with this, huh?
Davis Brothers.
I was gonna say Dennis Rodman.
No, because I don't think he's not.
You don't think he has a motor?
No, he's not an elite rebounder yet.
Okay.
So that's why I wouldn't give you Dennis.
Okay. But you'll give me one of the Davises, Antonio or Dale. Well, it got to be Antonio because he can score. Dale Davis.
No, this kid can't score. This kid ain't scoring.
Okay, Dale Davis then.
This kid is going. This is going back. And I told the story to the one of the drivers. This old guy, Mr. Ward. He's like 90 years old. It's amazing how this dude moves around. But he asked me about the kid, and I said, look, here's a story. Now here's a story. And this doesn't involve a lovely lady with 3 very lovely girls. Doesn't involve any of that. This is a story about a guy back in North Carolina. He wore the number 5. His name was Jackie Manuel. Played on one of the Carolina championship teams. And I'll never forget the story because one day he went to Roy Williams and he asked Roy, why don't I play more? I play defense. I do this. I do that. And Roy said, well, if you really want to play more for me, this is what you got to do. You keep playing defense. On the offensive end, you see that rectangle at the other end of the court? When we go on offense, if you shoot outside that rectangle, You come off the court. And that's how you got to teach this kid. If he shoots outside that rectangle, we don't need that. You're not here for that. That's not your job, son. I don't need you sitting out there shooting 15-footers. I need you either dunking the basketball or laying the basketball up, and life will be good.
Anthony asked the question. He said, "Do you guys think? Do you guys think if you guys fire the coach, if he starts slowly, you guys can go out to someone on the Golden State coaching staff?"
I don't offhand, Anthony. I don't know the Golden State coaching staff. I don't think you'd go. To be honest, I think they stay in house if it's an in-season move. And then they figure it out in the off season. But I think this guy is good enough. Like, you got to also understand that this guy coached basketball the last 2 years with his hands behind his back.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'd be winning the ball game, and then the little phone rings. It's like, hey, dog, I don't know what you're doing. You know we gotta lose this, right? And he like, yeah, my bad. All right. And then all of a sudden you taking everybody off the court, and you got guys on the bench that don't know why they coming off the game, but you coming off the game because we gotta make sure we guaranteed to be under the fifth, so we can get guaranteed top 8, and we don't lose this pick.
Now, for the Spurs, I'm sorry, for the Warriors, Steve Kerr's your head coach. Your assistants are Ron Adams, Seth Cooper, Bruce Frazier, Nick Kerr, Khalid Robinson, Jacob Rubin, Anthony Vereen, Chris Weems, and Drew Yoder.
So Rod Adams would probably be the top name on most lists if I remember correctly.
Now, we talked about it the other night. We were talking about the Kings. If I'm going to choose somebody, a staff to pick off of, that King staff, you got Doug Christie as the head coach. Mike Woodson is your associate head coach. Head coaching experience. Leandro Barbosa, Bobby Jackson, Mike Miller, and Chris Darnell. If I want new blood, I'm picking off of that. With the exception of Mike Woodson being new blood, but I'm picking off of that right there.
I wouldn't touch that staff with a 10-foot pole.
Really?
They're in Sacramento. Sorry, not sorry.
Look what happened when it was a certain coach was in Sacramento at one point in time, and now he's the NBA champion again.
Yeah, that's different. Because he started in the Spurs. There's a difference. I'm all about origin stories. I can take a guy that was in San Antonio and ended up in Sacramento as the head guy, but only got fired because he talked bad about his star player. Because his star player messed up and made a very bad basketball decision. And then that same star player ended up turning around in this year's NBA championship games and making another bad basketball play.
Okay. I can't argue. Are we done with the NBA? We ready to swap over and go talk about the ladies?
Yeah, let's go. I gotta go ahead.
Go ahead and do your thing. I got you. I got your intro. Now you got the Miles Report. For those that are uninitiated, you're not aquatic enough. The Miles Report is a report on Olivia Miles, potentially MVP and Rookie of the Year this year because of how well she's playing. Potentially.
I think you gotta change your picture. I don't know who you got that. That's somebody else. That's not Olivia.
Really?
Yeah, them goggles ain't goggling.
The hair ain't doing it for me either, but that's the one that popped up. And I was like,
If you did it off of AI has been struggling this week.
Yeah.
Hold on real quick. I gotta pull her stats up. But I know they played the Mystics last night, and they had a weird back-to-back with the Mystics. They played them late last week, and then turning around and playing them at the beginning of this week. And oh God, is that right? So right now, in action, let's do it this way: the WNBA. The tempo up 72-49 on the Sparks in the third quarter. That game can be viewed on Prime Video. Also tonight at 10 p.m., Wings play the Aces on NBA TV. And then there's also Liberty versus the Storm at 10 p.m. as well. Let's take it back to yesterday. Mercury versus the Fever. Mercury 111, Fever 109. I have to give kudos to, I think her name is Stephanie White, the coach for Indiana. She finally had one of those moments where she said, bleep the world, bleep the fines. This can't happen. They missed a obvious flagrant 2 last night. Young lady had her fist in Caitlin Clark's neck last night, which is crazy. I think it was Alyssa Thomas.
Yes.
And I think today that got corrected to a flagrant 2, and now she's suspended the game.
Yep.
But last night in this ball game, Kalia Cooper drops 28 points. The Mercury win 111-109 over the Fever. Caitlin Clark drops 19 and 8 assists. No rebounds. Miss Mitchell, Kelsey Mitchell. She been popping the last couple of weeks. She gave you 30, no rebounds, but 6 assists as well. In the next game, we have our aforementioned Miss Olivia Miles and the Washington Mystics playing. To get revenge, they won 78-76. In this ball game, Olivia goes for 21 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. This Natasha Howard lady has been balling. 21 points, 15 rebounds. If you ask me to be unbiased, I wouldn't be unbiased, and I'd say it's part of the effect of Olivia Miles being on the team and setting her up for easy baskets. Sonia Citron, former teammate of one Olivia Miles, drops 28 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Lauren Betts is still struggling. I don't know if it's the minutes. She only got 16 minutes yesterday. She got 4 points. That might end up hurting the Wizards. The Mystics. I thought that she was going to play more. The Chicago Sky beat Portland Fire 101-678. In that ball game, our spotlight for Portland is Megan Gustafson. She dropped 17 points in this ball game. And then, Chicago Sky balanced scoring. They got 6-7 players, just over 10. No one over 16. Looks like the best stat line I can pick out is Miss Azura Stevens. She dropped 11 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. So give her a shout out. And then to end the night, the Atlanta Dream played the Golden State Valkyrie. That game was 77-66 in favor of the Valkyrie. Angel Reese gave you 10 and 12, probably the best stat line for Atlanta. And on the Valkyrie side, Gabby Williams. She gave you 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. And that's what we have with the WNBA. Actually, you know what? Let's see if we can get. No, I'll say that for Sunday. Sunday, I'll give you the WNBA. We'll do the WNBA standings.
Okay. Well, we got to do a little backtracking here. We got to turn around and put it in reverse. We forgot one thing. Big thing. I'm moving too fast.
Is it? Yes. Great way to bring this back. I think there's the Missy Elliott song was talking about bring it back and reverse it. But NBA free agency, there's a reason I put this out here for you, big guy, because what I'm starting to notice is that these guys are starting, and I'm seeing a lot of this, and it didn't start with Trae Young, but there's a lot of guys that end up rejecting their player option, and then their new team basically signs them to a new deal, and then within a year or two, the guys that got signed to the new deal are looking or asking to be traded because now they have their guaranteed money in hand, and they're moving on from because they got the guarantees. They're unhappy. They don't. KG, I think you're frozen, bruh. They don't have everything at their disposal, so now they're creating a space because they got paid, and you just talked about that song. Just got paid Friday night. Well, they get paid because they get the extension, and then they request the move to move on from where they're at, and that's the problem right now. It's just like we don't get a natural free agency period where you're courting somebody because what these guys are doing is just signing their extension because what they're doing is using their Larry Bird rights. And Larry Bird rights means that if you play for a certain team and you qualify enough, you can get basically a max deal from that team. So that's going to pay you the most. So what they do is they maximize getting paid first, and then they worry about fit or worry about getting into the right situation. So like what you saw with Trey Young, and I don't mean this to pick on Trey Young, but Trey Young can sign. He signed his extension for 4 years, 212 million. Right? Let's talk about that. So now 4 years, 12 million. We're living the best life. We're moving on, and now that you have the comfort of not being on a 1 year deal, what you can do now is get yourself into a position where because you got this 4 year deal in place, now you can kind of move to wherever you want to move to or create yourself an opportunity to get a better opportunity. So what you can do is say, hey, you resign, it's not working out. So now that team is able to take you and this longer term contract because now you're not an expiring contract. You're 3 years at whatever, or you're 4 years at whatever, and they can trade you and move on from you. They can get something good for you or get something else for you. Maybe they pick up an expiring contract, but they pick up your services for the next 2 or 3 years. So what we're not getting is a natural, all right, I'm on the market. This is, you got to bid for me. I got to go do these free agent visits. We don't have the natural, what's the word I'm looking for? The natural
Je ne sais quoi.
decision. I'll say it that way. I like je ne sais quoi. You don't have the natural, like, you're not getting somebody pushed into a LeBron James decision because what they're doing is they're saying, all right, I want out after 1 or 2 years, because they're not happy with the way this is working out. So it's almost like free agency is now becoming, all right, I'm going to reject my player option. You're going to extend me. Just like I think the Wizards, even though I don't want them to, but I think they may have to do this with Anthony Davis because he's got 2 years at 60 plus.
Let
I
me
think
double check that. I got you.
and the second one is like a player option for 60 as well. So in essence, what they're doing is using the player extension to get them the guaranteed money longer. Like this is what we talk about when I say that quote from Wilbon. Like the players have found their loophole. And their loophole is reject my last year because why play on 1 year for 69 million or 68 million? I can get a new deal. And under this new deal, now if I'm not happy in a year or 2 years, I can move on. And then you give comfort to the team picking you up because they know you're not a rental. They know they got you for at least 1, 2, maybe 3 years in some cases.
Let me ask you a question. Because
Sure.
when you put this out there, I don't know what's going on with my camera. I'm here, but I don't know why y'all can't see my pretty face. I can see me, but y'all can't see me. But it's
You
okay.
probably gotta leave the studio and come back in.
Okay, let me get this point out there first, because when you put this out there, I was like, well, are we gonna do like we did for kayfabe and have a fume? Not a funeral. We're gonna have a fume. This ain't no fume. This is a celebrate. And I had my cape and my robe ready to go. Midnight Rider was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was like, if I gotta put it back away. But the thing is with free agency will never be what it used to be. Number one, in the age of social media, everything being atomic, nothing's a secret anymore. You know who's going to sign where 4 days before free agency open, and I don't like that. I don't like the quote unquote tampering period. I don't like it. Keep that under wraps.
So let me say it this way. I think there's two things affecting free agency that we didn't expect to, and this is more so for the NHL and for the NBA, not necessarily the NFL, even though it happens some in the NFL. But what's happening is these teams now are figuring out that if I can sign my guy early, we're good. If they're a free agent, and because the cap is growing exponentially now, like we were talking to Maddie about the guy Tuck, who's 30 years old and he's got an 8-year, 10.5.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by year 4, and with the cap growing, say the cap grows 10 each year, you got another $40 million on the cap, and by year 4 of this 8-year extension. That 10.5 takes up a whole lot less more of the salary cap than it did in year 1. Like you're getting a diminishing percentage of how much these contracts take up the cap because the cap has started to explode and grow at a certain rate. So now what you're doing is you're getting players that are getting better opportunities. They're getting more money. They can get money in the short term, and it doesn't have the long-term effect. Now the team got to worry about, okay, how much of this on the back end do I want to deal with? So like the caps with the guy Tuck, his 37 years, year 37 is the year that we're dealing with. Kind of like the A-Rod contract in baseball. We're dealing with years 37 and 38 where we're getting diminishing returns from a guy that used to be a star player, but now we have this player. How do we make it work? So maybe you DH him more in baseball. In hockey, maybe you move him down to your third line, and yes, you're paying a guy on your third line $8.5 million, but it doesn't matter at this point because this isn't 15% of your cap. Because the cap grew so much, now we're talking about 9%, 8%. So now you're getting a better value on top of that, because now that even though you extend them early and you extend them 10 years, the value of that contract has changed tremendously basically in year 4 because the cap has grown. And I hope that all makes sense. And if it doesn't, you can hit me up on the freestyle tomorrow at 7:15 and we can talk some more. I can see you.
Okay, you can see me. So all right, as long as you can see me. All right. Because I was hitting Dominique Wilkins. But and to answer your question about Anthony Davis, he do $54 million this year, $58 next year, and then if his player option is picked up for the 27-28, it goes up to $62 million.
Yeah, so basically what he's trying to do is extend those guarantees and get out to at least 4 or 5 years and have that player option in year 4 or 5, as opposed to having that player option in year 3. That way he gives himself more money and more runway. So when the team goes to trade for him, basically the thinking is, all right, so you got 3 years of player control instead of 2 years of player control. Or you have 4 years of player control instead of 2 years.
Gotcha. All right, let's switch gears because it's getting
break.
About that time.
Let's take a break.
You want to do a break first?
Yeah, I need to just get a nice little squig here because that was a little bit of yeah.
Look, this is what happens when you hold it down, and you've been doing that. So I got to call the timeout. It's gonna be a full timeout. Thank you very much. Full timeout.
Oh, you doing full? You gotta go arm extended for full.
I'm sorry, full timeout.
Yeah,
full timeout. Yeah. We're gonna go full. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're gonna take this break. We'll come back and we'll finish it off.
Tonight, the bell rings and the stories begin. Welcome to the ride.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sideline Junkies Thursday Night Throwdown. The next show on the ledger is the show that we just showed you on the commercial. This is how commercials should normally go, is we're previewing the next shows on the station and not just previewing the same show. But we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to go into that. That's just... No, ladies and gentlemen, coming up this Saturday, 9. Actually, we're probably doing a recap show Night of Champions, right?
Yes, sir. Directly after, we're trying to go on directly after Night of Champions ends, because Night of Champions is not going to be at night. It's going to be Saturday afternoon.
All right.
So we trying to go on right after that to get your wrestling fix. Excuse me, already done, and get you on with the rest of your Saturday night.
All right, let's get it going. With that being said, let's go ahead and let's do a quick Nats report card. So what we did was today, I had the great idea of reaching out to our guys at the Nats Talk podcast. The guy, we had him on at that time, would have been in the passenger seat as one of our guests, Kevin Nibley. And what I asked them for was, we're at the midway point of the Nats season. So let's do a mid-season Nats report card. So it was interesting seeing his response based on what I was doing. And this is how it works out. So it's the Sideline Junkies mid-season Nationals report. Under the column, it says Midnight Rider, offense A+. The Nats podcast, these guys are national. If you go to their page, the Nats Talk podcast, I think you subscribe and get their daily newsletter. I think it's $75 for the month. For the year, and it's $6.20 for the month. So I don't know. I got to double check to see if you can pay monthly, but if you can, it's a great option. It's great information. They break it down. If you're a big Nats fan, I think that's the way or the route you want to go. So we both have A+ on offense, and I totally agree with them on that, and they totally agree with me on this. You can't really dispute it because the Nats have one of the top offenses, if not the top offense in baseball. We kind of disagree on defense, but technically we don't. Because if you got a D+ and you got a C-, you're in the same neighborhood. And then this is where we go back to that place where there's a big yellow bird on the corner. Who are the people in your neighborhood? Well, it's Nat Talk Sportscaster and the Midnight Rider. They are in the same neighborhood. I got a D+, they got a C-. That point difference is probably like 2 to 3 points on the scale. And the reason why I have them as a D+ is because they've made some really good plays, but when they're bad, they're bad. You get Nasim Nunez playing second base and he's playing a little out of position. He's adjusting to that. You got CJ Abrams, who's not a plus defender at shortstop. So that's where an issue comes in. And then you got Curtis Mead playing third, who's not a natural third, but he can play third. So, and then you got Luis Garcia. And I tell people the most important place to play in baseball is first base. Because if you can steal or make sure guys don't get errors unnecessarily, then you become a plus defender in that situation. Starting pitcher, they gave starting pitching a C plus. I gave it a C. I think the reason they gave him a C plus, to be honest with you, is the results from Forrest Griffin. He's playing well. You've had a good stretch from Michaelis and Littell, who we killed early in the season. I think also the thing that you guys start thinking about next is there's a young kid that played well last year that should be coming out of his rehab soon. So we got to figure out where he plays, and that's DJ Hers, because I think you can get a boost off of him, and maybe you can move one of the guys that are starters down the line and into your bullpen, because lately what's been killing them is the bullpen. And that's where he has the bullpen at F plus. I have him at an F. I think I should have gone F minus. I mean, the last two games alone tells the story of this bullpen not being able to hold leads and secure leads for this ball club. So that's our quick Nats mid-season report card. KG, if you want to respond or ask questions, shoot away and just go ahead and take the report card down.
My whole thing is I'm looking at the Nats 41-40. I can't disagree with these grades. These grades are spot on. Absolutely right. They are 5-5 in their last 10, still doing good on the road, 24-16, 17-24 at home. So that home cooking still ain't home cooking.
Right.
But let me ask this: is that F plus? How many points is that F plus and that F separated? Is it a wide?
I think no. I think if you go on any grading scale, let's say an F plus is a 69. I think they got a 68 or a 69. I got a 64.
Okay. All right. Agreed. All right, I can deal with it. Again, we're coming up on the trade deadline. Is there a way that they can strengthen that bullpen to raise that grade up before final grades come out?
I think they can do so. They have options. First, they have a glutton of outfield talent at the lower levels that they can use to maybe give a guy like a Robert Hassel, who you acquired in the Juan Soto trade, and unfortunately for him, it's just been injury and just the fact that every time he got hurt, somebody else just played well. He's got like the Victor Robles scenario where Victor Robles was the top guy and the next guy in the list, but then he breaks his forearm or his elbow, I think it was, and Juan Soto comes up, and now Juan Soto is a superstar. Now you can't get your spot back because Juan Soto up here playing great baseball. That's kind of how I look at Hassel. Was he had some opportunities early. I think he was the leader in the clubhouse, and then not the leader. He was second. I think Wood was always going to be the first person. And then when Hassel kind of struggled, they got Dylan Lau to play out of his mind. I think he was Rookie of the Year to close out September last season. So now you got two guys that are kind of situated. And I think now he has to become the thing that gets you the next person. Think about it like this. If you remember the Atlanta Braves, and I'm going to say a name that I used to love, Ryan Klesko. Ryan Klesko came up with the Braves. He was the odd man out with Brian Jordan, Ron Gant, and company. So he became kind of the fourth outfielder. So at a certain point, the Braves had to try to use him to become a person to get them more. And if I remember correctly, and this is all off the top of my head, I'm not using my computer, but I think he got traded to the Padres, and I think he finished out his career at the Padres, or a combination of teams after that. So that's what you want to do with a guy like a Hassel. They've got a couple other kids in AAA that could become more than what they want. Anthony, you said Pete Fairbanks from Miami. I don't know if they would do a deal in division, but you got Kyle Stowers. You got a couple young guys in the outfield. So I don't know if your strengths match up with their strengths. And thank you, Anthony. You're right. He went to the Padres. He retired at Padres. Thank you. I appreciate that, Anthony. You gotta be around tomorrow, 7:15, because we do more of an open air show tomorrow. So you might want to jump in with us. I think it's gonna be me and Flying Brian. I'm not sure who else is on the cast running that show, but the Friday Freestyle, where we talk about a little bit of everything and a lot of everything. So talk to me. Let's see. Here we go. Scooter says the Nats have more wins than every team in the American League except the Yanks. Of course, they're in the NL where they're fourth in wins. If you can win on the road, you can win. You can accomplish a lot. They're 24-16. Exactly, Scooter. Totally agree with you, man. I just think they have to make a move for arm. I mean, they're so desperate right now. They're picking up everybody's DFA, signing them, and putting them in the pen. And so, like, they just signed a guy today from the Twins. No, yesterday from the Twins, and they called him up and sent the guy that they brought up yesterday to be their starter. They sent him back down. So they're basically just doing everything and anything they can to get pitching. Like they're like it's almost like they got two questions: can you breathe? Can you hit 90? Come in tomorrow. That's basically it. What's this next one? Are the Nationals the opposite of the Marlins because the Marlins are great at home? Were their fathers? Yeah, we can say that, Anthony. I think the Marlins' only problem is the Marlins can't play the Nationals 18 times like they used to be able to back in the day, because the Marlins for some reason just stick in the Nats craw. And it goes all the way back to Jose Fernandez. It goes back to Dontrelle Willis. It goes back to Edgar Renteria. It goes back to Miguel Cabrera, the 17-year-old that came up. It goes way back.
Man, you pulling out some names, boy. Hey,
I think I had my Sprite. I had a Sprite early today, and I made reservations next week for a Holiday Inn. That's probably why I know a lot of stuff.
Got you.
We gotta go to our Mount Rushmore, right? We gotta close it out.
We gotta close it out with the Mount Rushmore. So this right here, we call this the Mount Rushmore of DC sportscasters. If you grew up in the area, DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia, primarily DC for myself and the Midnight Rider, you watched news of some sort. And I was telling the boss BJ and the Midnight Rider in our chat that every household had a station. You had a rotation or you had a station. You watched, if somebody was home during the day, in the morning, you watched whatever channel in the morning. You watched the channel in the morning. For us, at my house, when my grandmother, it was Channel 4. She watched Channel 4 and the Today Show. For the afternoon, huh?
Go ahead. You going? I know where you're going. There you go. Go ahead. Keep going.
For the afternoon, she watched CBS Channel 9, which is WUSA.
So that means she watched Young and the Restless.
My godmother watched Young and the Restless.
Okay.
And they both watched the 12 o'clock news. My grandmother switched over to 7 to watch Lovin', One Life to Live, All My Children, General Hospital, Oprah. So she was 7. My godmother was 9. So it depends on whose house I was at. But in the evening, my grandmother would watch Channel 7. Then she would switch over to Channel 4. My godmother watched Channel 9. Then she would go to the 10 o'clock news, on Channel 5 and then go to 11 o'clock news on 9. My grandmother, if she was up at 11, she was watching Channel 4. So everybody had a rotation. Now, if you grew up in Baltimore, you know WMAR and WJZ.
Right.
I can't remember. Okay, that's 13. I can't remember what 11 what WBAL.
Yep.
So, you know, you grew up in Baltimore, you had that. So this is the Mount Rushmore of the sportscasters you saw on Channel 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13.
I think I know what you're doing here. Because I think I know one of your out. Okay, go ahead. So are we gonna go 4, 3, 2, 1?
We can do that, or if you want to, well, we can do honorable mentions before we go.
Let's do
I got a
honorable
couple of honorable
after.
mentions.
Let's do the honorable mentions after.
Okay.
Let's do the 4 that we think are our top 4.
Now the caveat is these have to be 4 that you watched.
And they have to be, again, from the local channels. These aren't guys. Now, they could have done the local channel early and ended up somewhere else. But their career has to be behind the desk on one of these channels.
Right.
Okay. Are we going to flip a coin to see who goes first, or you want to go first?
No, I think one of your SAT words, I acquiesce to you.
Oh, I love this. All right. You'd like to give your time. What I want to do is acquiesce my time, Your Honor. Your dignitary to the man from the county of Southeast DC. I'd like to let him talk first. All right. Well, I'm going to go with my 4. My 4th is Tim Brandt. Because Tim Brandt was a guy that I think he was stuck behind Glenn Brenner and some of the guys on Channel 9 and some of the guys on Channel 7. But Tim Brandt found him a niche and all of a sudden found himself on the Jefferson Davis Sports and became and Scooter, you can give us your Hartford 4 because I love that. I love where you're going. But yeah. So let's
and Anthony, give us your Florida 4.
Yep. So let's go with Tim Brandt as my 4.
Okay. Now, see, you old enough to remember Tim Brandt, his first stint in DC.
Yeah.
See, I knew Tim Brandt his second stint. I didn't know him his first. I was too young. I mean,
yeah, right. He had 2 stints in DC. He had his first stint, then he left to go do the college stuff, and then he came back for a spell, and then he went back and did some more college stuff.
My number 4, I still use his phrase to this day. WUSA Zone, Warner Wolf.
Yep.
Let's go to the videotape.
I think I know your whole 4, but yeah. So my number 3, this is a guy that I'm sorry, I got a Chris Collinsworth it. Now here's a guy. Redskins coverage, stalwart, a guy that I don't think at a certain point I couldn't not put him into the realm, and I'm going to leave off a legend because of him. But I know you, so I know you'll take care of me in the aggregate. So I'm going to put Rennie Knott as my number 3. The guy that looked like a baby Ken Harvey, but he was the sportscaster.
Yeah. Rennie Knott was a big dude. Yeah. And he wasn't very tall, but huge.
But he was always everywhere. I think we were at Carlisle. I think he might have been there till in the Carlisle, and more so the days at Salisbury. But yeah. That's my 3.
My number 3, he made his bones and got famous off of his calls for the Bullets and the Wizards. But it's WTTG, a.k.a. Fox 5's own Steve Buckhanks. Buck was my guy during the week.
I know you're 5. I know you're 5. I mean, you're 4. I know it. Oh my God, I know you're 4. Okay, I'm sorry. That's a sidebar. Number 2, K Jesus said it. It's Steve Buckhands. He's my 2. I think of him as another person that when I think about the coverage, and also I think about him as a guy that like set other guys up. I can't think of the redhead guy's name that used to be on Fox 5 after him, but like he kind of set him up to do some other things, to grow as a commentator. It's like Buck Hands. There might be a Buck Hands broadcasting tree out there, but the main reason I love Buck is because yes, he was our sportscaster. He was our Redskins guy. He was our Bullets guy. He was our Wizards guy. But then it became a thing. Scooter, you can't use Kornheiser or Poland because they're not desk guys. We're talking about desk guys. Guys that had to be at 5, 7, and under. If you think they are, just give me a reason and we'll accept it. But we need a reason for us to accept Tony Kornheiser and Andy Poland. Back to my comment, Buck Hands he was always there, man. And then once he became the play-by-play guy, it just got even better. So that's my 5. I mean, my 2. I think we all know who 1 is, but we're gonna go through the formality and act like we don't know who everybody's 1 is.
But see, that's the thing, because I was looking at it and I was like, I could put this guy as my number 1, but I didn't have enough time with him. I felt as a sports fan, I was cheated.
All right, so who's your 2?
Well, my 2 is Frank Herzog.
Okay.
And I say Frank Herzog because his time at Channel 7, yes, even his time at Channel 9, but his time in the booth doing Redskins games, not Commanders, Redskins, and that whole touchdown, Gary Clark, touchdown Redskins, during the 2012 season, all down my timeline, every time Washington scored, my Facebook post, touchdown Santana Moss, touchdown Redskins. Every time. Iconic in my life. Iconic.
So number 1, unless you're just trying to be antagonist, number 1 is the greatest sportscaster, the only man to be simulcast or broadcasted across many areas in the world. And when I say that, I mean he would have been somebody that if you were in Kentucky, you saw him. If you were and he covered every sport. He covered rodeo. He covered the WWF. He covered when the WWF was first starting and Hulk Hogan came along. He covered all the sports all the time. He was the ESPN Ocho before there was ESPN Ocho. Mm-hmm. And that's George Michaels. You can't. There's no way you make this list and George Michaels isn't your 1. And it's all because of the George Michaels sports machine, which guys have brought up in this list. And it's funny because Anthony just said this. I'm surprised. This is funny. He said, I'm surprised none of you have Frank Herzog as one of yours.
Look, you Frank Herzog gotta be
there. Let's talk about Scooter said George Michael, Chick Hernandez. I love Chick.
Yeah, I love Chick too.
I'm still trying to work on that. I'm angling. I'm angling to get me get the Chick to get him on the show. My Mount Rushmore is Hank Goldberg, Dave Van Horn, Larry King, and fellow Ramirez. All right. I guess I like that.
Wasn't fellow Ramirez? Nah, that's not the same cat that I'm thinking about. It used to be I'm thinking about somebody else.
Oh, boss man, this is who I thought you would have had as your 2.
And that the reason why I don't have Glenn Brenner is one of my honorable mentions because I wasn't into sports long enough. But as I was getting into sports heavy is when he got sick. Right. So I didn't get to really see him like everybody else got to see him. Dude, going back now, you can see all the bits and everything, but I didn't get to experience him like everybody else. And that's why I was saying, as a sports fan, I felt cheated because it was great TV, especially when you had 4, 7, and 9 out at training camp and they just sitting in a row and they on each other's show because it's just that much love going around.
All right, so let's stick with the let's stick with the Mount Rushmore thing. But next week, I'm gonna be very specific when I'm asking for. We want the Mount Rushmore of college football play-by-play guys.
Ooh.
I don't want color guys.
Don't want color guys.
We want play-by-play guys. So we're thinking in the ilk of Vern Lundquist. We're thinking about people in the ilk of Keith Jackson. We're talking about those kind of guys. Brett Musburger. And I'm not even giving you people. I mean, I've given you 3 tough names, but that's where I want you to think at. I want you to focus on that.
Play-by-play.
So here we go. So we only watched WUSA in my house. So I grew up with him. I knew who he was as a child. But you know what? That's so funny. I love that you guys say this because I think in the 80s, every house had their channel. Bring us on the bigger thing. We can take the Mount Rushmore out. I think that's so important because I think everybody had their brand. Everybody was like I said, Renee Poussin, Susan Kidd. They were those Gordon Peterson. Like they
Andrea
were
Wong.
like those were their people. And so like it was so funny because I think and I might be embellishing this a little bit because the memory ain't what it used to be. But I remember, when I was a little kid, I used to go. My dad used to drop me off at a babysitter, and that's where I learned how to play solitaire. Mr. Melvin Mumford, shout out to him. Rest in peace. And his wife, Clarice Mumford, who's one of those people that, like, if you ever had, I always say I've been blessed when it comes to moms and people like just putting an emphasis on your life and feeding you the right things to do right. And Miss Clarice Mumford was one of those people. So give her some love. And I never forget, I think we had All My Children. I know we watched General Hospital. And I think we watched Price is Right. I don't remember what the in-between. I don't know if it was As the World Turns or what that in-between show was. But it was something, and I just don't remember it. But it was Price is Right. Because, of course, you had to do Plinko. And what's that joint where they move the tags around? And then if you got a certain number of tags right, you got to put the golf ball from a certain distance.
Mm-hmm.
If you got the showcase within 100 or whatever, you got both showcases. Like, it was just all, yeah, man, the 80s were great, man. Big floor model TV that KG wants to now somehow have in his house. It doesn't make sense when you can buy a 75-inch for $400.
True.
For some reason he wants a floor model, don't make sense.
But
hold on. So what's this? Hey kids, TV used to shut down. Yes.
Yeah.
It's the famous line from Lenny Williams? Watch TV till television went
off. Yeah. TV used to go about 1 o'clock.
But that's all right. The great guys who were play-by-play guys were also great color guys. Not so fast, my friend. Because most time they had a great color guy beside them. So we knew the difference. Like, right now, if you watch a game, Joe Buck is the play-by-play guy. and Troy Aikman is the color commentary. You know, when you watch Fox, Kevin Burkhardt is the guy, and then there's somebody else. Like, you know, God, who is the guy that's with? Is it Vern Lundquist and Todd Blackledge? I
I
think that's the
think
team.
so. That sounds about
It
right.
sounds so familiar. It sounds so right. So that would be the team in that scenario. Um. Oh, so here we go. Ramirez and Van Horn were the voices of my childhood for the Marlins on the road. They were the ones doing the games. Yo, and you know, Anthony, I love that you even say this because this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is why we have this topic, is because we know voices shape our childhood or shape our experience. And that's the one thing that we were trying to, that's where I think KG got the idea of this conversation from, is because, like, who shaped your mind growing up? Because yes, there was this division. Like, I know for a fact, I used to hear people argue about, well, I like Channel 4. I like Jim Vance. Or I like this person. And somebody be like, well, I like Gordon Peterson. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things that it just shaped your childhood. And Maddie says, um, George Michael, Flying
Mm-hmm.
Brian, Flying Brian says Warner Wolf, George Michaels, Glenn Brenner, and Frank Herzog.
Yep. And see that, like, you talk about channels. I remember watching what was his name? Dave Statter. Remember he used to do the car reviews on Channel 7?
I don't.
You
That
gotta
name
be a
doesn't
certain
sound familiar.
age to remember that.
Scooter. Look at my guy. My guy. Sean McDonough was with Blackledge for years. Sean McDonough, low key, is pretty good at this
Look who his
play by
dad
play.
is.
Yeah, but I'm just still saying, because I didn't like him at first. Because
Man, once I saw the name, I was in love, man. I was like, nah, I love this dad. I know he's gonna be great.
the voice I remember as a kid was Ernie Hartwell for Detroit, because we could get it in Toledo. Yo, you know this name. I can't think of it. It's not ringing a bell yet. He used to do games with Doc. It was the ACC games on the was it the Jackson Hewitt or
Jefferson Pilot Sports
yes,
Network.
Jefferson Pilot. I need his name because he might be on my list for the college football. Social media ruining the anticipation when certain people were on TV. You made your sure your butt was home to watch. Now you can watch it on YouTube or later or clips. True that. True that. I think also we consume sports differently because we're doing so much on our phones. Some of us, not saying no names, Midnight Rider, might be looking at potential wives in Cape Verde. Um, Cape Verde got some women, boy. I tell you, I don't know. For basketball, nope, Anthony. You jumping topics, Anthony. Stay on topic. That's the only thing I need you to do, Anthony. Stay on topic. I like what you're going with it, but I'm not gonna post that because you're gonna send KG into a whole nother realm, and we're gonna be here for another 20 minutes. We need to get out in the next 5.
Steve Martin.
That sounds right. Okay.
But I'm gonna tell you, let me get to these honorable mentions because I know we gotta go. Of course I said Glenn Brenner, Chick Hernandez, Wally Bruckner, Fox
Yes.
5, Gus Johnson. I knew about Gus Johnson when I was a wee little lad. I think I was about 9 or 10 years old when I was watching Gus Johnson. And then to see him on a national stage, he was a sports anchor at
He's at 5.
Fox too. Yeah.
He's on the Buckhannon Street.
Yeah. So is Wally Bruckner. Rennie Knott, Channel 7. Lindsay Zarniak, Channel 4. She parlayed that into getting the job at ESPN because she took over the sports machine before it got canceled.
Right.
Feldy, Dave Feldman.
Yep, that's the guy I was thinking about.
And Dan Helly.
Well, Dan Helly, He parlayed that into an NFL Network job, and he doing this thing.
Oh my God, Ken Beatrice.
No,
Jeez,
no,
that's
no,
a
no,
name I
no,
forgot.
no, no. He doesn't work. He
I
doesn't work.
thought Ken Beatrice was on TV.
No, he was strict. He was mostly radio on WMAL, and he was never like a sports caster. That's why I asked you this question, and I made sure you gave me the rules because
I thought Ken Beatrice was on TV.
hold on. So Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
before we close out, we're going to take the rails off. You know, because everybody right now we're 10-year-olds bowling, and we got the rails up. So we're going to take the rails down for the last 20 minutes of the Sunday show. And we're going to name the 4 most influential sports people. So they could be play-by-play, they can be radio, they can be TV, whatever. But you want your best 4. And we can't do honorable mentions because we'll be here all day if we did honorable mentions.
Most influential sports people. Sports.
They're still sportscasters. Scott Hansen's a great name. Andrew Siciliano is another great name. KG brought up Warner Wolf. Oh man, that only 4. That's tough. Yes.
Yeah, that's why I said Mount Rushmore, not top 10.
Yes, this is meant to be tough. Because I already this 4. I already got my 4. And nope, it's platform.
With this Mount Rushmore that we talking about right now,
Sunday is any platform. We're talking about influential sports media people. I know personally my list doesn't make it past 1990.
Mine doesn't go past 2012.
All right. So Sunday Rise. You know what? Let's do our show Sunday differently. Let's open. Let the church doors open. Put the collection plates around, and we open with this. We get the people. Gotta get the people. People what they want.
Ooh. Diana Rossini. She was on 4.
Ooh, she was also on. Nah. All right.
Diana Rossini is local.
Yes. That's a great name. This is why you can't we limited to 4 because there's some great names out there.
Oh yeah. But see, that's the toughest part.
Because a lot of people from DC came to DC and it was just a stop to get to something bigger. So you got your Rossinis, the Zarniaks, and all those people out there, Scott Hansons and those people. But
Dan Helly.
You know, but this Sunday, after we do the intro and barring any rest in peace, we're gonna do sportscasters. We're doing only the DC market. So whatever so Anthony, it's only your Florida market, your top 4. They can be play-by-play, they can be news desk, they can be sports talk radio, whoever they are. But it's only 4. And it's the most influential 4. The biggest 4. And there's no honorable mentions.
No honorable mention. All right. So look, it's gonna take 2 days to work on this.
So the first 30 minutes of the Sunday Rise this Sunday is this topic.
All right. I got the note card written.
All right. So. And Anthony, you'll go national soon. Don't worry about it. But we're building up. So we're on that 5th. You know how you on a roller coaster and you hear click, click, click because we're going uphill? We on clicks 8, 9, and 10 right now. We haven't gotten close enough to the top of that hill so we can come down full speed.
Well, it's time to wrap that shit up. Midnight Rider, final thought.
Well, we can't say we don't do no overtime, but this show was necessary because we had a lot of stuff we was talking about. We had the great Matty Ice talking about hockey. Yeah. And then we had Anthony in the comments. We got Scooter. We got the boss. Who am I missing? Did I miss anybody? Oh, we had Flying Brian. Hey, Flying Brian, hit me up. Let me know what you want to do tomorrow. I think that's everybody. If it isn't everybody, then blame it on my mind and not my heart. But we appreciate everybody jumping in, talking, creating conversation. Take us home, KG.
Well, since we were talking about the sports machine, let me go ahead and close it out just like that. Thank you for allowing us to come into your homes, your cars, your offices, everything. We thank you from the bottom of our heart for allowing us to be a part of your night. We are the Sideline Junkies. That's the Midnight Ride. I'm the big guy, KG. And guess what? We are out of here.